Hello and welcome to Shay Zasaa and a Zasaa Zooms In. And today I've got a special guest. You have met her before. And we did say at the end of the last one that she came for, we said we would invite her back. It's taken over a year to get her back because her schedule is crazy. So please be kind to her. Sola, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you so much for having me again.
So,
and thanks for asking your viewers to be kind.
My viewers are kind. Most
you.
of the time they're kind. But I always feel like I have to tell them because they're used to certain people. Wando is not here today, okay? Okay, so today I wanted to talk about, I spoke to Wando, funny enough, I spoke to Wando about this, and it's what would you say to your younger self? Because I think that, they say hindsight is 2020 vision, and sometimes when we're young, things just seem so, do you know what I mean? So what would you say to your younger self?
Well, I definitely tell my younger self that you don't have all the time in the world.
Oh, wow.
That time goes by really quickly. And this is not in terms of, somebody dying or anything. It's just that time goes by really quickly. And, the things you really want to do them. Don't say, I'll do it tomorrow.
So do you think that you did that? That you postponed stuff?
I looking back, there's some things that I wish I'd done. So I love traveling. And I had the opportunity then on different occasions to go to Pakistan, and I had the opportunity to go to Syria. Now, somebody can say, you can still go to Pakistan, yes, but I had a family that were living there, and they invited me over. Yeah. And Syria, the Syria I would have seen then is not the Syria now. And so I look back and I think, oh, I wish I'd done that. Yeah. I mean, there are things that I've done that I'm glad I did. Like before 9/11, you could go into FBI and see all those things. Yeah. I did. You can't do that now. So I'd say, do the things you want to do. Time flies quickly. And then also because, you get married and things change a bit. I always tell the story about how once I went to DC with my friend. My friend lived then in DC, and I remember going out and just spending the whole day and coming back at the end of the day, and I'd seen everywhere there was to see. And I remember going back later when I was married and had Sochi, and I said, okay, I'll just go out for a bit. And I remember getting on this tour bus, and probably 30 minutes into the tour, my phone rings. I'm just checking up on you. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. An hour later, when are you coming back? And I thought to myself, it's about seizing moments. And I think when we're young, we think, all the time in the world to, you can do anything else. But, there's seasons. So I'd say first one would be just max moments. You want to do something, by God's grace, just go out and do it. You want to learn a skill, you want to learn how to speak language, you want to learn how to play the piano, anything, just do it. Just do it. I think the second thing I would...
let me wait before you continue. Do you have a list? How many things do you have?
I have 3.
Okay, all right. So just so I know how to interrupt you.
Yes,
okay,
I have 3 that come to mind immediately. Okay. The second one would be, I'll be a more intentional investor.
That's a really important one.
I would, because what's that thing they say, that compound interest? I think if I had been investing £20,
absolutely,
I'd be, But okay, you'd invest a bit, and then something comes up, and then you spend it, and then you look back and think, ooh, what would have been? I look at, property. I remember a time when somebody bought a flat in West Ham for, I think it was about £20,000.
Yeah.
Ooh, West
Can you
Ham.
believe that?
yeah, West Ham.
And it must be worth like $500,000.
So I would be a more intentional investor. I would invest more,
But do you think, coming on to that investment one, because I think that's a really key one, but do you think that at that age you knew about these opportunities or not? Because I think sometimes, like I said, hindsight is 2020. So whilst that sounds to me like a brilliant thing, I'm thinking about myself at that age. Did I know? I mean, somebody buying a house, I think I did know about that. But that thing of deliberately investing to save, I don't think it was something... What I had was my grandfather opened a post office account for me when I was 6. Nice. And he put money in. He was just putting money in. And so I would put money in. And I remember, of course, I took it all out. So there's no point. But I remember it was a huge amount when I took it out. And all I'd put in was like, £5 every month or something. But like you said, compound. So if I had continued that, it would have really, but by the time you get your own access, because I didn't have access at first, by the time I got access, I spent it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking like that. So I just wonder whether it was something that you Were you aware of the opportunities to invest or not?
I was aware of it because you'd see magazines, you see things where they say, and the money was so much different from then what it is now.
Yeah.
And you just see, and I had friends who bought property. I mean, I got my first property when I was 30, but I wish that I hadn't sold it. I wish I had kept it. I wish I'd invested some more. Just so many things that, looking back, I think to myself, I definitely do it differently. And also, you said, oh, you get this lump sum and then you're quick to spend it. On what?
Exactly. I wish I could tell you what I spent it on.
Exactly.
I wish I could tell you what I spent
So
it
I
on.
definitely tell my younger self that, you know what, don't be quick to spend this money unless it's something that's going to yield into like maybe property, and also don't be quick to let go of the property, stuff like that. Don't invest it in, clothes. Don't invest it in cars. Don't invest it in things that depreciate. Invest it in something that, I heard a story about a lady who invested, and she'd get money out and invest some more and invest some more, and I think if I'm right, made quite a bit of money. But I guess she was one of those blessed people that, I don't know if they were told not to send it or whatever it was, but I definitely would tell my younger self that invest. It doesn't have to be a lot.
No, exactly. And that's the painful thing. It really doesn't have to be.
A lot.
It's what you would do. Like, even if you decided to give up your coffee that you buy.
Exactly,
It can be something so simple.
Exactly.
Okay, so we can't go back and tell our younger self
No, we
anything.
can't. We can't.
But your younger self effectively could be your daughter.
Yes.
So have you taught her, she's a bit older though, as in, but
But
did you
she's
put these things into her?
Well, I
as
won't say I did, but listening to her conversations, I know that
doing the right
JJ and Noni, I know they're doing the right stuff. It's the youngest one that we really need to, because there's also that thing about when you're the youngest.
Yeah, it's different.
It's also different. You've got, like the other day he was, talking about, church and whatever. And I said, well, you have the advantage that when you come, aunties are just loving you. Somebody give you £10 here, this one here, you need to do something, stuff like that. So I think he definitely needs to get more of that, it's just...
And I wonder, sorry, I'm going to let you get to your third point. I wonder if, because sometimes I think, like when I look at my son as well, I feel like he's not as old as your first two, but he's closer in age. Mm-hmm. But I feel as if that generation are more aware.
Yes, they are.
I feel
they
like
definitely
than
are.
we were.
No, they definitely
are. In terms
are.
of investing, in terms of even just like trading, all this sort of stuff, they're very alert and, because my son would say things like that, but that means I will have to go into my savings. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. But you know what I mean? It's like, and I don't think, I did tell him, but not to that manner that, you know what I mean? I think a lot of it is from just how they are.
How they are, always searching, always learning. Yeah. Because I definitely didn't say anything to them, JJ and Noni, about it. But I know they have investments, I know they have savings. And sometimes when I hear what they're, I'm like, wow.
It's good. It's a good thing.
No, it's really good.
It's a really good thing, yes.
Really good.
And I wonder if, speaking to Sochi, he's younger, but I wonder if when he gets to the right age, he will have the same.
Yes,
I wonder.
Yes. Well,
I don't know.
So.
Because I just feel like there's something about the society at the moment or the environment or something that they are just... we weren't thinking like that, I don't think. Whereas they are very much thinking like that. So I think it's a completely different...
It's a completely different generation and all, but I definitely would not take the money back out quite willy-nilly like that. I wouldn't just take it out and just spend it on... Because there's some things that I've taken money out on, and I honestly, Tinuke, can't tell you...
But the thing is that it's that whole thing of what do you want versus what do you need, and also what is a good investment. Also, what should you take a loan for? They sort. I'm not financial enough to know these things, but like when they say a mortgage is a good debt, or like there are different good debts and bad debt. It's that sort of thing that I really want to put into my younger children. My oldest one, like I said, seems to have got it without anybody telling him anything, but I'm not so sure about the ones coming after.
Well, what I've tried with the young one is that, when like aunties and uncles give him money, I just take it from him. He's like, oh, mommy, what's it? I said, no. So he has a jar that just been stuffing everything in. And he told me the other day that, how much is it? I said, well, you don't need it, obviously. I said, if you find a child who needs, they will know how much money they will know. I said, you obviously don't need it. So I've just been putting it in the jar, and I'm thinking maybe one day I open it up and...
No, you need to go and put it inside. So put coins in a jar and notes in a bank, so that you can get some sort of... Actually, I don't know whether you get interest in a bank like that. But
the reason why I kept it in his jar is it's money that if he came and said he needed something, so that's why I've kept it.
As the jar is getting fuller,
yes, I have to
can
review
empty,
it.
leave him a few.
Yes, yes. But the good thing is that he hasn't even come to me that, so I'm like, oh, you're such a blessed child. You actually don't need it, because I can imagine some other kids that need essentials, like they need a new pair of trainers, or they will, can I have, but you haven't. He hasn't asked me for anything from that since his last birthday.
Okay.
So it's just
clearly
there.
doesn't, I mean, but wait, I guess it's also, so my son, who is, actually, no, he's not even, he's older, but he will ask me, because if he wants to go to, the shops on his way home from school or whatever, but really, they don't need anything. They don't, so it's just for socializing type thing. Okay.
They're quite blessed, honestly, they really are.
Yes, yes, indeed.
They really are.
And sometimes, whilst that is a good thing, I wonder if that isn't a bad thing as well. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Because I remember when my son, my oldest son, this one is not even financial, but he was excelling at everything. And I said to Wale, I said, I'm going to make him fail at something. But no, I need him to fail in this house before he goes to, because he'd never failed. He will now go off to university and fail. And then God knows how he will respond to that, because he'd never experienced failing. So I was like, no, let him fail.
So what did you do? I'm curious. I know you're the one asking the questions.
No, that's fine. I did actually have to in the end, because there was a particular subject he was struggling with, and because actually that's not fair. He wasn't struggling with it. He was having problems with the teacher.
Okay.
So he switched off.
Okay.
And because he switched off, he didn't fail woefully, but he didn't do well. But it shocked him into So I didn't actually have to do anything. Wow. But I had plans, so I was like, there's no way there's something he's going to, because I was worried that he would leave, because you hear about people that now commit suicide because they suddenly feel emotions they've never felt before. So I'm like, inside this house, let them learn how to fail. Because I feel like failure is a key part of life. Yeah. And I was happy he was excelling. I really was, but I just felt like let real life come into play a bit. You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
So that's and I think that sometimes, even with, like, I do it with money, I'm like, well, can you afford it? You know what I mean? As opposed to I will give it to you. So I'm trying. I don't know how it's going to.
Actually, there was something quite interesting that happened. So Suchi wanted what's the one? What's the one of those?
Xbox,
one of the two. Yeah, one of the two. I can't remember. So he had one, and he wanted the other one. And I was like, well, right now you have one. Do something about it. And so he spoke to his brother, got his brother to sort out somebody buying it. Then he took all his old games, got them put on some whatever. Yeah. And then, so he earned quite a bit. And I said, okay, that's good. I'll make up the balance, because he had actually done something as opposed to,
Yeah, but I think that's important, because you're teaching him the value of the things. Yeah. And I think sometimes, and I said this to a friend of mine who, well, he agreed with me eventually, but he was a bit annoyed. But I said, I feel like Nigerian parents, talking about Nigerian parents, Nigerian rich parents, or well-to-do, or
or comfortable,
have it comfortable, are doing a disservice to their children, because you're thinking, I didn't have it in a lot of cases, so let them have it. But you're setting them up for failure, because you're not giving them real life situations. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you now stop giving them, what happens? There's almost like a does money grow on trees type of thing, because that's how it comes across to them. If every time we're saying yes, every time we're, you know what I mean? And I think, because he came from that, he felt I was attacking his parents. I wasn't. I was just saying that I've noticed that it's for me, and I understand why they do it, because it's like, I couldn't have it and I can give it to my kids, so why can't I? Yeah. But at the same time, I think you have to find the balance to make sure that they're equipped to be okay humans. But anyway, that was finances. What else would you do? Oh, sorry, say to your younger self.
What? Sorry, I really wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to say that an area that I'm really, really excited about, that I really want to get, we have gotten our kids into once, is to take them out on missions. So we took JJ, Noni, and Sochi a couple of years ago to see our Compassion Kids.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was an eye-opener for Sochi, because he couldn't believe it that a family of, I've forgotten how many, would live in one room. And they didn't have, then fidget spinners were the in thing, and they didn't have fidget spinners. And so one of the things, and he even asked after them tonight, I said, how are Compassion Brothers and blah, blah, blah. You mean they didn't visit them? But one of the things that I want him and his friends, I want to try and organize, is for them to go out on a mission trip. To go to a part of, it would be Africa, where they meet kids like them. There's no difference, just that you happen to be born into this family and they're born. And to give back, to play football, to teach them English or something. And yeah, that's something that I wish also as a child, as a younger self, I'd been able to do more of that. So that it wasn't just that I was just traveling and just having a great time, but I was also giving back.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think it's key because I think there's nothing like seeing how other people, and I think travel does this even without a mission trip. Just traveling to other countries, you see how other people live, and it's not necessarily that they're poorer or they people just, you can't really understand humanity. Yeah. Not that we can never understand humanity, but you know what I mean? You can never even be, you have to see other people in their natural, how they are. So I think that's a really, I hope you get to do that.
Yeah, no, I've started work on it. I found a place in Ghana, so spoken to this person, so I'm hoping that by God's grace next year, I can take him and a few others, and then they work hard. And I've told the place that I want them working hard. No, none of that. They work hard, and so.
Yeah, no, it's very important, and it's definitely, 100%. I like that.
So the third one is I would be more intentional with relationships.
What does that mean?
So, I was saying to you that, so you and like my husband, you have really rich relationships. Relationships that have spanned many years. And I find it really beautiful that you have friends. He has friends from primary school, friends from secondary school, friends from university, and da-da-da. I have no friends. I mean, I say it, I wish it was different. I have no friends from my primary school.
Do you remember primary school?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think I don't remember it because I don't have the relationships from primary school that would make me
remember it. Okay, fair. But did you like to talk it? I think the question I wanted to ask was it traumatic?
No.
Okay.
No, it was perfectly okay. It was perfectly okay. I went to Bodija International. It was
down the road from me.
Yeah, lovely school. So no, it wasn't traumatic. Secondary school, I don't really have any friends from secondary school. Okay. I mean, and it has nothing to do with anyone or the system or the school. I went to Queen's School. It was a great school. I think it was, the truth, me.
Yeah.
I think I was so engrossed in being, in work, in, becoming a doctor, and, so the whole focus was academics. And university, I do, but it's really the latter part. And so looking back, I'd say, and when I see people like you and my hubby that, they have relationships from, I'm like, and now I see the richness. Yeah. I see that no matter how influential, no matter how well you've done in life, without relationships, and I'm not talking about just any, but deep relationships that have, that have stood the test of time, I definitely would tell my younger self to work on that. I'm not saying that some people are great, they have loads, but even if you had
just a handful.
Yeah, just a handful.
You don't need to have plenty.
Yeah, just a handful. Yeah. It's one bit that I think if I look back on my life and I think I really would love to do differently, it would be that. It would be that.
It's interesting that because you see, it's so interesting because people always say what you say about me, but I don't think I was intentional. So I think there's a bit of character maybe involved in maybe, it. Yeah. I mean, when I became, I'm intentional. I don't think I was intentional making the friends. Let's put it like that. But I was intentional in keeping
the
them.
friends. That's the word. Keeping the friends.
So in keeping the friends. So the friendships happened, and then and then I guess, and I don't know why, but I don't joke with friendship, as in. You know what I mean? But it's interesting because people always ask me that question: how do you maintain your friendship? And I'm not. I feel like I should bring my friends on here to come and tell you because I'm not that. I'm good at keeping in touch. So I will keep in touch, but I'm not talking to them every day. I don't have that bandwidth. I don't have that, you know what I mean? But if there's something going on, I will be there. If I know about it, I will be there. You know what I mean? So I prioritize certain things within my friendships, if that makes sense. So if I know for a fact that you're going through something and you have involved me, you've let me know, I will be there 100%. If you don't let me know and I hear about it, I will send you messages from time to time, but I'm not going to because I feel like maybe you didn't want me to know, not in a negative anything way, but when people are going through things, sometimes they just don't even, you know what I mean? But what I do, if I think of you, and it's not your birthday, because I do birthdays. If I think of you and it's not your birthday, I will immediately send a message. So, because and then if I think of you again, like, let's say I think of you 3 times in 1 week, I'm calling you because the way God works with me is usually there's something up if that happens. So I've learned that. But before, what will happen? Because what will happen, I worked this out because then my friends will be like, how did you know I was... I didn't really know. I've never admitted that before. I knew because I know, but you know what I mean. So I would just so that's the way I kind of make it work. It's God that is doing it for me in the sense that He would just bring them to my remembrance as and I would just be like, oh, I need to call that person. But if I think of you and it's not your birthday, I'm immediately send a message, because I'm like, why am I thinking of you? I might just send a hug, and I won't, you know what I mean. And then if you respond or whatever, but if I think of you a few times, I'm going to say, are you okay? Or, now I would say, are you okay? Before I would have just called or whatever. Now I'll be because I usually know that that's a sign that there's something. So I guess but I think, you're right. When I look at, my friendships span from, I have and I pick up friends everywhere. Like Wale says, you just pick up. But he's the same. I don't know why he does it as if it's something I do. I think the difference is that I maintain mine. So he will pick up and not necessarily, but I maintain. And I think, I just feel that every relationship is life. So it needs to be nurtured to grow. It needs to be, so there has to be.
That's what my husband always tells me. Yeah.
It needs to be nurtured. So if you're not nurturing the relationship, it will die. And that's not to say, I will go without speaking to a friend for whatever and pick up the phone and everything, but there's a nurturing that's going on in some way or the other.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. And I think, definitely, I do think I'm richer for my friends.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. You know what I mean? So,
me looking on the outside, I think you are.
So so I think I am richer, but like I said, so I am intentional about keeping. But it's an interesting one because I don't think I ever. By the time I got to secondary school, yes, I was thinking about how when I first came to England, I was writing 200 letters a week.
I see that. That's what I'm saying. You're so intentional in keeping.
Yeah, but that's crazy. When I think about it, it reduced, but depending on how many replied, it became quickly enough. But I was just like, because oh my gosh, how am I going to... I remember my grandmother saying to me, even your pocket money is not going to pay for the postage, you know what I mean? Because there were just so many of them, but so I think...
it's beautiful. I watch you, I watch my husband, and it just seems really rich.
Definitely.
Really rich, he'll... sometimes it's like, oh, he's introduced me to this person before. I'm like... I can't
there are too many.
I can't give up. But looking at it, like a reflective moment where you're just saying, I think, wow, it's, and these are people that a lot of them would do within reason anything for him.
But you see, it's so funny. I was going to say that because you see, what I love about my old friendships, I have lots of new friendships and they're brilliant, but my old friendships, although some of my new friendships are becoming old now, but my old friendships, it's like, when somebody has seen you from when you were 2 years old or when you were 4 years, they've seen you. What do you want to bring? You can't bring any, you can't pose, you can't they know the real you. So you can come and pretend to be all that and the bag of chips, but in the end, they keep you grounded, but also you can be completely yourself with them. So there's a comfort in that, Like I remember when my class started doing reunions and we hadn't done it for many years. I was just like, gosh, I'm going to, I didn't, then it comes out, in conversation you find out that this person fancied you or that, but we have now reached the age where who cares? Do you know what I mean? Like, they didn't really want to talk to you because they were always the reason. But who cares? I'm like, these people have known me from before, and that's why I always say, when I blow, which I will, anybody I've known until then, they're safe. It's the people I meet after. I have to look out. That's what I always say. Because I'm like, they can bring out a picture of me naked when I was 5 or in my bikini. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have so much on me. That's not why, but you know what I mean? It's like they have seen me. So there's but so while that could be negative if somebody had the bad intentions, it's also very positive because it allows you to just
to be yourself
and not have to think about but that's an interesting one.
Those are the things that I'd definitely tell my younger self that I'd do it differently. But
so now, okay, what we got? Just less than 2 minutes. So now I think, so what you would tell your younger self. So those 3 things, are you telling your children? Or are you going to tell your children? Because I said to you that my younger self seems a bit stupid, but because I have children, I can see how it would make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I need to be telling my children this. And I'm not even sure that I consciously do. There's some things that you automatically do, but are you consciously telling your children about these three? Or will you be doing so going forward?
I think in terms of our older kids, I think if I think about those three things, the two older kids are doing a brilliant job. In terms of maxing time, in terms of things they're doing, in terms of investing, and in terms of relationships. My goodness, they have beautiful friendships that have been their friends since when they were in primary school.
Yeah.
So, and then Sochi, in terms of friendships too, exactly the same. I think that's what makes it more, because I'm surrounded by people that, you know, and I'm like, ooh, you know.
It's not too late. You can start now.
Yes.
It's not too late.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you've heard my husband say how
You steal all his friends.
And how I guess that's another thing, you know. I think to myself, man, can't really, this friend, but this friend, oh yeah, but it's like, no, you don't do that. You sow into the friends and you nurture and you know. So,
yes, you have to create your own relationships. Okay, we have 26 seconds left. So you see how quickly time goes.
Where did time go?
I'm telling you, I always feel like, are we going to make it to the end? And then at the end, I'm like, well, let us know what you think. What would you say to your younger self? Would you say anything to your younger self, or do you think that you did everything as you wanted? And it's not a regret thing, it's just what would you say to your younger self? Do follow us on YouTube, and yes, we will see you next time. Rock your own gorgeous.